Yeah, I think we made a yes. B'Yom Rishon, first day of the Maimed, right? The Maimed, of course, was when they got together in their cities and in Yerushalayim, each week a different group to correspond to the Kohanim were sacrificing the korban. So they would lane every day. They would actually fast every day, but they would except actually I shouldn't say every day. They would fast every day except for Friday, Shabbos, and Sunday. Okay, so they would lane every day as well. By Yom Rishon, on Sunday, even though they wouldn't fast, they would lane Korim B'Bereshis. They would read Bereshis and Yehirakiyah. But Sheni, they read that's the first 2 days. But Sheni, Yehirakiyah and Yikov Hamayim, the second and third day. But Shlishi Yikov Hamayim Hi Moros, the third and fourth day. But Ravi Hi Moros Yishtu Hamayim, the fourth and fifth day. But Chamish Yishtu Hamayim V'Totzei Arts, the fifth and sixth day. Vashishi V'Totzi Aretz, V'Yichulu Shemai, the sixth and seventh day. V'Aretz V'Chol Tzvar. Parsha G'dol was a long parsha. Korban so b'shtayim we divide into two aliyahs. Uktan, a small parsha, b'yochin, an individual would read it. B'shachris, b'musaf, u'v'mincha. Sorry, b'shachris, b'shachris and b'musaf. That was in shachris and musaf. They would lay in this. U'v'mincha nichnas b'korin al PM. And in Mincha time, they would read it about Peh. If you're quoting as Shema, as if they were reading Shema. So, Erev Shabbos, B'Mincha, Lo Yu Nichnasim B'nei Kover Shabbos. Erev Shabbos and Fridays, they would not go in to Mincha to lane, because of Kover Shabbos is no time. Kol Yom Sheyesh Bo Halo, any day there was Halo, Ein Bo Maimed, Shacharis. There's no Maimed even in the morning. Korban Musaf, there's no Maimed specifically in the morning, sorry. Korban Musaf, the day in which there's no which there's a Korban Musaf, there's no Ne'ilah, Bo Ne'ilah, there's no, now again it means there's no laning at Ne'ilah of the Maimed. The Korban Eitzim, a day in which they used to bring wood sacrifices, something we're going to discuss. Bo Mincha, there's no laning by Mincha, Divrei Rabbi Akiva. Or Ben Azai said, Kachi Rabbi Yeshua Shon Ezra, where Rabbi Yeshua used to learn, Kar Musaf, a day which was no Kar Musaf, Ein Bo Mincha, there's no Mincha, but Ne'ilah there is. A day which is Korban Eitzim, Ein Bo Ne'ilah, there's no Ne'ilah, and there's no Mincha either. Because Rabbi Akiva Liyo Shonek Adiver Ben Azai, Rabbi Akiva eventually came around to the position of Ben Azai, and Mar's going to explain what exactly is going on with when we lane and where we didn't lane. So actually we used to lane in the time of the Maimed 4 times a day. Shachris, Musaf, Mincha, and Ne'ilah. Okay, they used to lane 4 times, corresponding to their, and every week they used to do the same laning for the Mamodos. This is a special thing having to do with the Takona D'Rabbanan about the Yisraelim standing over the Korbanos which are being brought by the Beis HaMikdash. Yes?
Rabbi Akiva here is changing his opinion based upon the opinion of his Talmud, Rabbi Yeshua.
Which was a contemporary. Ben Azai was
he wasn't contemporary, but he was also. I thought he was considered.
No, I don't. No. Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Akiva, and Gamliel, they were all Talmidim Chaverim of Rabbi Elazar ben Horkanus, but they're all on the same level. They're all the same. Okay.
Now, when they talk about Musaf, what Musaf we talking about? Rosh Chodesh?
Well, yeah, day when it was Musaf, like Rosh Chodesh or Chol Hamoed, something like that would be a day which Musaf. Chanukah is Musaf. Okay, Rabbi Chuna Amar Omer Sholosh Kurisha B'Torah. When we have 3 people getting a list of Torah, Lo Yivchasu Miyasar Psukim, they shouldn't lane less than 10 Psukim each one. Chizki Amar Kenegro Aseres Dibros. Where we get 10 Psukim corresponding to Aseres Dibros. I don't know if this is in the Bible. I do not remember it certainly. Now, ask more. Wait a minute. But we learn B'Yom Rishon Bereshis V'Yirakiyah. And the first day you read Bereshis and V'Yirakiyah. That's the first 2.
On the side it says Megillah.
No, the Keneged Aseres Dibros. I don't remember. It corresponds to Aseres Dibros. But it could be it's there too. I haven't learned Megillah in a long time. There are only 8 psukim in the first 2 days. So I get up to 10. So Rabbi Idi Amar Ispalgun. There's a machlokes between Kana and Asa. These 2 people argued. Chadara once said Chayzer, you repeat 2 psukim. B'choron amar chotech, you cut 2 psukim in half. Now, how do you cut a pasuk in half? Yeah, but how do you cut it in half? What makes half a pasuk? What makes it cut in half? That's like the Farshim don't really speak about it. Shari Torah Yisrael speaks about it. How do you cut a pasuk in half? What does it mean cut in half? You're not making a hefsek in the middle of the pasuk. Do you understand the problem? In laning, how do you make akar? Just by the trop? Every pasuk has a snachta then, so every pasuk is 2 psukim, right? So he says the Maturgamon would stop it in the middle and translate. It was about Bakar would stop and the Maturgamon would translate. That's what would cut the pasuk in half. Normally, read a pasuk and the Turgaman translates afterwards. This time he would translate immediately after the snachta. Okay? So, Manamar Chayzer, he who says Chayzer, Shnei Psukim. You repeat 2 psukim. Manamar Chayzer, he says, Vayir Vayiboki Pasiv Neatmo. In the first 2 days of Vayir Vayiboki Yom Echad, Vayir Vayiboki Yom Sheni, they're only half of a pasuk. There's a half of a pasuk before them. So therefore, you divide the pasuk in half and you make the Vayir Vayiboki Yom Echad a pasuk by itself. As the Miravati that we learn B'Sheni Yerokia Yikovu Amayim. It says by the Sheni, by the second day you read Yerokia Yikovu Amayim, and there, there's also the same machlokas. Chadam Marchos, and one says you go back. Chadam Marchos says you cut it. Manamar Choser Shnei Psukim. That's okay. So you repeat 2 psukim, that's fine. But Manamar Choser Afilu Choser Chleis Pei. Even if you cut in half, only the pasuk by the second day is one which you can cut in half because part of it is text and part of it is Vayir Vayivoka Yom Sheni. But the pasuk end of Yom Shlishi, it's all one long pasuk, so you can't split in half. So how do you get 10 psukim? Hey, Steve, Rabbi Pilipa Bar Prito, coming Rabbi Zira, so Rabbi Pilipa Bar Prito asked Rabbi Zira, big deal, we find precedent for reading 9 psukim. Rabbi Parshas Amalek on Purim is 9 psukim. Amalek said, Shani, that's different. Sidru Shoyom, that is the entire episode of the day, and therefore it's self-contained. But here, the question is, how we make do with 9 psukim on the second day of the Maimer. Hey, say Rabbi Lezer, Bar Moron, Kum Rabbi Yonah. We don't answer that question. Rabbi Lezer Moron went up there to ask another question. Kum Rabbi Yonah, Rabbi Yonah. V'Tanani, didn't we learn? I'm after you, Rabbi. Some reads Navi leave close me chapal psukim. We shouldn't read less than 21 psukim. Now that's difficult because 21 psukim means 3 for each ola, corresponding to 3 for each ola, and there's 7 oliyas of Shabbos, so 21 psukim, right? But he says, if every 3 olim have to read 10 psukim, when you get an aliyah, when the aliyah sits 3, 3, 4, or any other configuration thereof, so actually, in the minimum amount of psukim per person is 3, 3, 4, and there are 7 olim, so it's really 3, 3, 4, 3, 3, 4, and 3. Which means instead of having to read 21 psukim, how many should you have to read? 23 psukim. Okay, and the Yerushalmi doesn't answer it. Now, if it's up to me, I would answer it. I would say you only need 10 psukim if you're doing 10 psukim is a minimum, but once you go above that, it could be a multiple of 3. But the Yerushalmi doesn't answer the question. I'm sure that's the Yerushalmi would have answered.
What about where there's 9 psukim? What about just repeating one of the psukim?
Yeah, but according to Madam Rechotich, we didn't understand according to people which holds cut in half. You still don't have enough. That was our problem. Tani Acha Mishmar Yisanim B'chol Yom. They would fast every day except, as I said, Sunday and Friday. B'Sheni Yom Yisanim, and each day they would fast something else corresponding to the day. B'Sheni on Monday, so Yom Yisanim, they would fast on Farshiyah people who went down to sea. Sailors, right? Because it says, Vayomer Elokim Al Yirakim B'Tzol Chamayim, the sea separation water. Water is fast on sailors. B'Shlishi on Tuesday, Yom Yisanim, and they would fast on wayfarers. Because Vayomer Elokim Yikov Amayim Taz Shmayim. Hashem created dry land. Oh, wayfarers go on land. They shouldn't die of Askara. Why? Vayomer Elokim Mehi Moros. Hashem said, Moros, we read Maoros, Me'eras. Me'eras is a plague, and the most common childhood plague at the time was this Askara. But Chamishi on Thursday, Musani on Morbars, they would fast on pregnant ladies. shelo yiplu lo yapilu, that they shouldn't have miscarriages. V'al menelkos, and on nursing ladies shelo yimusu b'nein, that their children should not die. Because v'em elokim yishitzu nefesh sheretz nefesh chayo. That's the time when living souls are created. Tani bilad lo yemisani lo be'erev Shabbos, we're fasting on Friday, v'lo motzoi Shabbos, nor on Sunday, they covered our Shabbos, because the honor of Shabbos. Tani, we learn, it's a fascinating halacha, truly fascinating. Sanhedrin g'dol lo yisai misani morim. Sanhedrin fasted the Mamodos. That's more what? Sanhedrin chol l'tzas b'chol yoy. Can all of a sudden remember the Sanhedrin have to fast all day? They're never going to take the job. Are they crazy? So rather, Mechalkin Ayuatza Abati Avos. They used to divide themselves into like the Belte Avos of the Kohanim. They used to take turns fasting. I don't know if it was 1 a day or 3 a day or 10 a day, but they used to take turns. Not everybody fast every day. Okay? Says the Gemara.
Therefore, the Sanhedrin would do the same.
What?
And how would that?
Yeah. The Sanhedrin would take the 70 of them and divide them themselves. So there was a Torah Nut.
But it doesn't mean that in order to be selected from the Sanhedrin, you had to be from different Batei Av. So
No. It's just Kaviyachol, similar. Okay. Says the Gemara, we don't fast for two purposes. Now, I've never heard this halacha really expounded upon, but the Gemara Yerushalmi is very serious about this. Yerushalmi says, how do we know that? Because it says, v'notzuma v'navag, we will fast, v'navag shemilken, we ask for a God, al zois, one thing. Not from that pasuk, got a pair of pasuk. For this pasuk, v'rachamim l'mibah mikodam elad d'shmaya, mercy to supplicate from before the God of heaven. Allah is the dinah on this day, on the secret of this. In other words, one thing at a time, not in two things. Rabbi Chagai b'Shem Bezira said, however, there's an exception. Shema Yushnei Dvar, we have this earlier in Masechta. Yushnei Dvar Tiras Kushami Guvai. If there are two things like lack of rainfall and locusts, Mashin and land, you can make a trua and fast immediately. Why? Because they both have to do with lack of food. So even though there are different reasons for it, they both do with lack of food. You can fast for both simultaneously. Rabbi Chagai, but interestingly, based on previous Gemara, Rabbi Chagai, when you go out to a fast, have a Omer Yekumen, he used to say in front of the gathered multitudes, Achunah, my brethren, Afa Gab the Isbeli Binon Akin Sagin, even though we got many tzaris, some things never change, right? Elul Honda Sisu. So we're only fasting for the one for which we came for. Because you fast one fast per tzara, or one tzara per fast. And
it's almost like the version of Ein Marvin Simcha B'Simcha, just like the reverse of it.
Yeah, it dilutes the anguish or whatever it is. That's right.
Again, Yerushalmi is using Ksubim to learn halacha.
Oh, well, big deal. That's for Yerushalmi, it's no big deal. Masis Raimeir. Now, I'm just like Raimeir.
This wasn't, the reason why they're using Ksubim is because this is not a real Isser. This is just like a...
That's true. It's Rabbanans anyway, since it's all Tanesim and the Rabbanans. To Rameir said, our Mishnah is like Rameir. To Rameir Omar, Masisa Rameir. Rameir Omar, every time you dive on a ma'ibet, you lane a lane. Mispalim Mikorin, I read it wrong. You lane, you dive in lane, you dive in lane, you dive in lane. In other words, every time you dive in lane. From Krabbanim, Mispalim Mikorin, Mispalim V'hochim, a Korin Rabbanan, our Mishnah, Rabbanan only lane once a day. During mine, but also only lane once a day. In the morning, that's enough. So now, getting back to the Mishnah, it says, the Musa Fieshba. It sounds like our Mishnah that even a day when you cancel the Ne'ilah, like a day which is Korban Eitzim, you cancel the laning by Ne'ilah, by Mincha, but the Musa there is laning. See, there are Meir, our Mishnah, there are Meir, Mispalim Korin, and Mispalim Korin, obviously you can lane multiple times of the day. East Tani Michlav, those who learned the Mishnah the other way, that the Korban Eitzim does not have, by when you bring Korban Eitzim, you do not say laning a Musa, but you do in Mincha. But when you bring Korban Musaf, then you do not say neither by Musaf nor by Mincha, which is the opposite of our Mishnah, which gave more of a distraction to Korban Eitzim, that you shouldn't have to say. You shouldn't have to say on a day like that the laning more than once or more than twice. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yachim Shem Yasa said Yasa Kamas Nisan, that the Korban Eitzim is more of a distraction. So it says why? Rabbi Simon said it should be really Suvra de Kisam. In other words, the heaviness of the trees and the having the care of the trees makes you distracted, so therefore you don't have to have Mincha or Ne'ilah. Okay? Now, Amrai said a different shot. When you have Musaf, you don't say Ma'amodos, you don't say the laning, because you got to eat Rosh Chodesh meal. So it seems even the people of a Maimad on Rosh Chodesh were not fast the whole day. They're going to eat the meal at some point. Okay, so since they had to go eat the meal, so they had to be Mekatzer and davening, leave out a couple of lanings. Says Rabbi Lezer comes to explain that he likes Raimona's reason better. Raimona's reason, which he said that has to do with Rosh Chodesh. Yeah, that's Chodesh is better than the reason Rabbi Simon gave, which has to do with the heaviness of the wood. Because Hashem called Tadim Chaver, Rosh Chodesh is more prevalent than Korban Eitzim. So therefore, we say that the reason why you have to push off the meals is because of Rosh Chodesh. The reason you have to push off the laning is because of the meal of Rosh Chodesh, and not so he doesn't focus so much on the wood, which was not a regular occurrence. Okay. Krayim Messiah Rabbi Yochanan. Now, the apostle which assists Rabbi Yochanan, they didn't have Rabbi Yochanan until now. Oh, I skipped the one, or I didn't explain it properly. Rabbi Lezer said, Al Shem called Tadim Chaver Kulam Chaver means that since Rosh Chodesh is more prevalent, I didn't skip it, I explained it, but not sufficiently. Rabbi Lezer said since Rosh Chodesh is more prevalent, so therefore Rosh Chodesh is more of a reason to push up Parshias and laning than is the heaviness of the wood. Now, Kroim is saying Rabbi Yochanan, Pasuk Rabbi Yochanan. What Rabbi Yochanan said we don't know yet, but we sure know that we have Pasuk to help him out. He's going to appear in a minute. Kroim is saying Rabbi Yochanan, Vayi Mochras HaChodesh HaSheni. It says on the second day of Rosh Chodesh, Shaul made a meal. Right? Remember that? And David didn't show up. So we see that 2 days Rosh Chodesh even back then. So in Tamar train Yarchen Abba, if you're going to say maybe it was 2 separate Rosh Chodesh, 2 separate months, then Mohak Siv Madul Ba Ben Yishai Ben Kam Togan Lechem. It says why didn't Ben Yishai come both yesterday and today? So therefore we see that even in the times when there was when the Mishkan and the Mikdash, it's still possible to have 2 days Rosh Chodesh. Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yochanan used to command the people of Beis Knesset in Kufra, which is in Tveria, Salchun, which means pay attention. May I go into the Surah Rosh Chodesh, Adu Itmam Ayomam while it's still daytime, Batu Narmi Zmani V'Ibura, and you're going to chap around with Surah Rosh Chodesh, both the time, meaning the 30th day of the month, which even Chodesh Chatzar is Rosh Chodesh, and Ibura, the 31st of the day of the month, which in its time, when the month is a Moli, is Rosh Chodesh. So the bottom line, after all said and done, what he's trying to say here is that that there are 2 days Rosh Chodesh, and there are 2 days Rosh Chodesh, or for that matter, Rosh Hashanah would be similar. 2 days Rosh Chodesh are kind of an ancient thing, and the kind of an ancient thing because in reality, what the 2 days Rosh Chodesh signify is not so much. The Gilin Ephraim says, not so much that we're waiting, like most people say, we're waiting for Adam. In other words, we're waiting for Adam since they didn't come, so alright, so we'll make a Kodesh B'diavad. What it means is, even in the time of the Mekadosh Piyam, they always made cheshbonos of when the new moon would be seen. And they knew very often that the 30th day was when the new moon should be seen. They were still committed to Adam, but they knew. So what did they do? Instead of making it Aleph, they made it first day Rosh Chodesh. And then they had 2 days Rosh Chodesh. So actually, there's a understanding that it has to do with when the Edom came. When the Edom didn't come, but the Gilad Ephraim says no. Actually, it's with the Cheshbon. When the Cheshbon work out that this Rosh Chodesh, even though they couldn't make Rosh Chodesh unless the Edom came, they still wouldn't make it Rosh Chodesh, and that's why way back in time of Shaul and David, they already were having 2 days Rosh Chodesh, right?
But the first day is still the last day of the previous month.
What?
The first day of that Rosh Chodesh is still the last.
No.
It's the first day of the new month.
It's the first.
Or the second day was also Rosh Chodesh.
Oh yeah, it's the last day of the month.
Yeah.
Like we do it. Right, like that. I messed up. Right. It's the first day of the last day of the old month, because even though Cheshbon worked out, they still wouldn't make it the Rosh Chodesh officially unless Edom came that day. That's right. Okay, I apologize. You're right. Okay, says more further. Zman Atze Kohanim V'am, the time of the Kohanim and the nation was Petisha. 9 times a year they would bring wood. Bechel ben Nisa, Bnei Orach ben Yehuda, they would bring wood. Besim B'Tammuz, Bnei David ben Yehuda, they would bring wood. B'Chamisha Ba, Bnei Parish ben Yehuda, they would bring wood. B'Shiva Bo, 7th day of the Ab, Bnei Yoda ben Rechov. B'Asara Bo, Bnei Sana ben Binyamin. B'Chamisha Asar, Bnei Zosu ben Binyamin. B'Moyim, together with the people who brought a Chamisha Asar B'Av, also Kohanim Levim, the Chomish Shata, anybody didn't know what Shevet is part of, they would always all bring on that day. Does anybody remember why Tu B'Av was picked as the cutoff date for wood?
That's something to do with the Karbanis. They stored the wood for the next year's Karbanis.
And after that day, what would happen to the wood? Why couldn't they? Yeah, they wouldn't dry properly, so would rot tree in the winter. Very good. So. Yeah, no, that's not related to this. At least I don't think. Bnei Gon ve'ali, also people would steal blocks of wood. People would bring piles of dates. B'Asrim, they would come on the 20th day of Av. Obviously, all the wood had to be chopped down before that, but they would come 20 days of. Bnei Pachas Moa ben Yehuda, they would come B'Asrim be'elu, and Bnei Adim ben Yehuda be'Echel b'Teves. Shavnei Parish, and then we come back to Bnei Parish again. Be'Echel b'Teves loya Maimed on the first day of Teves, Rosh Chodesh Teves, there was no Maimed at all, because they had all 3 Shoyabo Halel, Korban Musaf, Korban Eitzim. So it was triple whammy day, and they would not have on that day. They would not have on the day any Maimed, any laning at all. I think in Chakras they could still have, but they wouldn't have in Musaf, in Mincha, and Eilah. Okay? Says the more for the Maros man Ati Kwanim Limanos. Why are we mentioning this here? Why is this being related or enumerated? El B'Shosh Ol Yisrael Megos, because we're not looking for the goals. V'Lamotzu Eitzim, they didn't find wood. B'Lishka, they didn't find wood to sacrifice the Karbonos in the Lishka. V'Amdu Eilim, these guys got up and these not Eitzim shots, and they devoted wood from their own. Umasim Lativ, when they gave it to the community, the Korban Korban, for that they used to make the Korban Tzibur. We know in Nevim, Shemenem, so the Nevim among them made a condition, Shafil Lishkam Le'etzim, even if the office is full of wood, Shemevim Me'atzim, they should bring the wood on their own. V'amdu Elu, and these guys got up, these not Eitzim Mishal Atzman, and they gave the wood first, whoever brought on the first day, was it here? Bnei Orach ben Yehuda. Shloya Korban Miskar Shantchul, because they wanted the korbanos to be brought from their wood. Rabbi Achor said Rabbi Yosa, the Chorah Misra Rabbi Yosa.
When we're talking about Shaul Yisrael Medagol at the time of Ezra?
Yeah. Is there a problem with that?
Well, it's like, I would not understand why all the trees would have been chopped down.
No, there was no Eitzim in the Lishka.
There weren't trees available?
No, they chopped down trees.
For their personal...
Yeah.
It's not the Eitzim Mishal Atzman. What is that?
Their own forest. At least they cut them down in the public forest. I don't know which one. I don't know, it sounds bothering you.
What's bothering me was,
I misunderstood it initially. I thought it was really Roman times, and I was thinking about some article that guy Gedalia alone wrote. But then I saw, that's what bothered me.
He's dropping names.
No.
We don't even know who Gedalia alone is.
Oh, okay. He's some guy who used to be Hebrew who died. He's some professor who uses the Yerushalmi heavily to establish historical facts. And he makes like little comments by the Gemara. He uses them to show that the Romans, that the fighting that the Romans did was very intense. That they destroyed everything in the land of Israel. And that's why.
Is he related to Menachem Elon?
No, this guy was not from at all.
Okay. Says more further. So the Rabbi Yossi says that Rabbi Yossi, the Rabbi Yossi Ma'afa wrote to Bisnadim Shomarchinim. Anybody wants can give something to Beis Hamikdash. And here in this specific instance, Rabbi Yossi is discussing about a person who watches the grain for the Korban Omer can do it for free, even though really because then the Korban Omer has a little bit of a private component, it's still permissible. But so our Mishnah is also a private component because the wood is coming from private sources, right? So it says Rabbi Yossi Shem Rabbi Ela said Divrei HaKoli. No, it works according to everybody. Ma'apli, when is the machlokas whether a person will have to volunteer on his own? The guvar shel korban, the korban itself. Amachshir korban, but the wood, which is the preparation of the korban. Kol ha'mamayde, everybody agrees should mishtan me a korban yachid, korban tzibor. And even if a yachid brought it, so to speak, because the korban yachid could become a korban tzibor, as long as you make sure to give it to the tzibor properly. Tana Isha similarly, a woman who made a shirt for her son, the Kohen, which has to give it over to the community. And to use. Rabbi Yachol said, Rabbi Yossi must go like Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi Ma'afa writes to Misai Shemachini can volunteer services, so she can volunteer suits. Rabbi Yasser said again, Divrei HaKoli, it works on everybody. Ma'apli and Guvish Korban, what's Ma'chlokas, whether it can come from private resources or not, only in the body of the korban. Avo b'machshir korban, but someone who prepares the korban, kol ha'moidi, everywhere agrees, shumishtani korban yod, korban tzibur can change status of that personal to that of a public. Says our Masdisa, our Mishnah, it should be Messiah. So this following Mishnah is a Messiah as a proof with Rabbi Yossi. It says, Osama Yomi Nogim Bohem Mishasa Korban. Those days of the Korban Eitzim, they apply both in there's a Korban, there is no Korban. Rabbi Yossi Amar, Ain't no Nogim is not a Korban. No, they're only applied when there is a Korban, not afterwards. So here, the cute thing is that Rabbi Yossi holds that there are no Rabbanan. Sorry, who argue Rabbi Yossi must hold that there no way even Shalom B'Shasa Korban. Second. Oh, okay, so that means a private individual. Or it's Rabban and Rabbi, Rabban and Rabbi Yosa over there, not to be accused with Rabban and Rabbi Yosa over there, not to be accused with our Rabbi Yossi. They argue about now, Bisman is there, after there was no basic mention, still a din of you being exempt from Tachlum, let's say, in your day of your Korban Eitzim. So Rabbi Yossi holds you're not. Rabbi Yosa the Tana holds you're not. Rabban obviously argued, say you are. How can we exempt from Tachlum? How can you exempt from Maimon? If it's
There's no basic Mikdash.
No, even more than that. If you can't bring eitzim because you're a private individual. If our whole Mishnah is Sheker Korban Rabbanan, because you can't bring wood because you're a private individual, then the Rabbanan can't argue with Rabbi Yossi. I swear the days apply Bisman Hazeh. Then Rabbanan wouldn't even apply a whole day days Bisman Beis Hamikdash Hayakayim.
But we said that you could bring private.
So that's only right. We said that the one opinion holds that's only Rabbi Meir who says, that's only Rabbi Yossi who says that. Okay? So now it's saying it must even be Rabbanan. Because it has to be Rabbanan, because Rabbanan are saying that even Bisman Hazeh, that there's a Megillus Ta'anis. So it must be that when Beis Hamikdash was there, it worked. Okay? Furthermore from here. The Tanya Rabbi Eliezer said, "Anu ayinu mibnei Sana ben Binyamin." The same way that we are from the children of Sana ben Binyamin, who brought their korbanos on the 10th day of Av. One day Chal Tishbov Lios b'Shabbos, Tishbov came on Shabbos. The Dachinos on Motzei Shabbos, the pushed out the Motzei Shabbos. The Yimesani and people in my korbanos group, besides Lo Mashlim, we had fast, but we didn't complete the fast because it was our Yontif, it was the Nidcha of Tishbov. Okay, now. Getting back to the issue of the people mentioned in Mishnah, Ma'al Gon ve'ali, who are the people who stole alis? Ubnei Kotzin, people who had cut figs. El B'Shah, rather time shows Shiv Yoven, about part of this also Adorchim B'Ravam, put watch guards or watch people on the pathways. Lo Yim Nicham Yisrael, Los Yerushalayim, do not allow Am Yisrael to go up to Yerushalayim. So there anybody who was a Talmud Chacham, a Tzaddik in that generation, maybe it's Bikurim, he brings Bikurim nonetheless, V'nosa Tochsal, put it into a basket, and cover it with cut dates, cut figs. He would take a mortar and pestle, and put it on top, and put the basket on the shoulder, and he took actually the pestle in his hand. They came at Shemagia, most of the Mishnah, once he got to the Mishnah, was checking to make sure he wasn't going to have to Yerushalayim. The Mishnah would say, where are you going? It said to many, I'm going to take this pestle, this pounding thing, and take the dates which I have, the figs which I have, and I'm going to pound it, into one large fruit cake. Ba'aliyah says should be with the pestle which I have in my hand, so they wouldn't suspect them. They're kind of dumb, these guards. They must have been mercenaries. They came at Shuoiver at Samisha. What's the past? Samisha Ma'atron. He would decorate his basket. Ma'asa Yerushalayim and take her up to Yerushalayim. So that was Mesiras Nefesh bringing Churma up to Yerushalayim. Similarly, Ma'u Omer, what is that God? People are mentioned in the Brisa, but they Salmei HaTutzi, the children of Salmei HaTutzi, were they? El Mel, it means like this: El Komishim is not of Eitzim. Anybody who wanted to bring wood to Beis Hamikdash, Gzirim and blocks Maracha for the flame. Hoyam Evi Eitzim, when bring the wood, Vosel come in Shlovi and make like rungs. Vosel come in Sulam and make it like a ladder, and Vosel Kseifa and put it on his shoulders. So the came to Magil, once he reached the guard, the guard would say, where you go, and he would say, each day goes also low, I'm only going to bring 2 chickens back, or hens. I'll show you from the dovecot, Shilfonai. Shilfonai, which is in front of me, with the ladder, Shal Kseifa on my shoulders. Became Shavuos Yerushalayim also Mishmar. Once he passed away this Mishmar, he would take them apart, meaning he would take apart the ladder. Yerushalayim as for the wood. Anyway, since the people were moitzah nefesh in the mitzvah, they got a good name in the world. And concerning such people, it says zecher tzaddik. The commemoration of such a tzaddik is levracha, is a blessing for the Jewish people. Okay, so they were furtive in their efforts. 5 things happened to our forefathers, Shiva Sarvatamus, Chamisha Tishba, and 5 Tishba. Shiva Sarvatamus Nishtabra, Luchos broke. Uvata Tami, the Tamid seats being sacrificed. Vuvkoyer, the ear which the city was pierced. The siege was successful. V'sarv Apostumas to return. Apostumas burned to save the Torah. Vami Tzon Bechel put an idol in the Heichal, and Vilna Kota Beitar, and the last I skipped. I skipped. But the Tishbav Nixav Seish Loikon Lawrence, on Tisha B'Av, they were decreed not to enter Eretz Yisrael and the Midbar because of the Meraglim. The Chorei Be'abayis Yerushalmi Ta'anis, first and second base of Israel destroyed. The Nukuda Beitar was destroyed, capture of V'nechor here, and the city of Yerushalayim was plowed under. See, it says, Vayishkon Kvod Hashem al Sinai, the honor of God rests on Sinai, Vaychoso Anon, and the cloud covered it. Sheshes Yomim for 6 days after Shavuos. Vayikra Moshe b'yom hashvi, and Moshe was called on the 7th day. Vayam Moshe went out. Shvi. Oh no, I'm sorry. Those 6 days beginning of Sivan. We have this in the Gemara in the Bavli, I think too. Yeah. But for 7 days in Shabbos. For 7 days, this is 7 days from the beginning of Sivan. For 6 days, Am Yisrael and Hashem were together, and the 6th day the Torah was given. On the 7th day, Moshe was called up to go up to Shamayim. Shlish L'achar Dibros, 7th day after Dibros, the was the first day of the 40. First day of the 40. Moshe says, "Our boy, you mean I'm on a mountain, got up on the mountain for 40 days." The came and Shigi, Yom Arboim, once it got to 40 days, the boy didn't come back. Yarvar Yaroki Moshe Chedes Minar. They say Moshe is tiring for coming down from the mountain. He came at Shigiyah Sheshos once noon came. The Lord didn't come yet. Immediately, Vayakelu Amel Aaron, the nation come to Aaron. Vayomer Lov, they said to Aaron, Kuma say, Lord Elohim, make us a God of Shilchum, which go in front of us for going there. I don't know about there. Moshe said, Lech Eit Kishichas Amcho, go down because the nation is corrupted. And then Yeshua, as he was telling them, heard the people in their negative cries. Moshe said to Moshe, there's civil war going on. Moshe said, you idiot. He doesn't say that. I don't think so. This is a special edition. He said, what?
Why is the Gemara going through this whole story? I mean, it's
really
common knowledge.
It's not, you'll see. A person is eventually going to lead on 600,000 people. And don't you know, tell the difference between different voices. For him, he said, it's not the sound of strength. Not the strength of weakness. An afflicting voice I hear. Impoverished voice of sin. Rabbi Yossi said, it's the voice of those who praise God, Avodah Zarah. Rabbi Yossi said, Ein dor v'dor is no generation. Very famous quote, Shembo unki achas michet shel ego, which doesn't have 1 ounce of the chet ego and part of their affliction. Okay, Vayika asher korab, now here it gets different. Vayika asher korab el machane v'yaseg of a samuchos, and he got close to the camp, he saw the golden calf and the dances. From here we see a person should not judge what he constructs to be true, what he reckons to be true. Rather, Moshe Rabbeinu had to see the Egel and Mechelus. So the Chasam Sofer and the Shai, what?
Means presumption.
Presumptions, right? Don't make estimations or presumptions. So say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him there's an ego, right?
What's that presumption?
So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? So the Chasam Sofer actually changes the next line. He says, Dorish Moshe Mikal V'chomer. He doesn't change it explicitly, but he says, Moshe made a Kal V'chomer. He said, and the Chasam Sofer, according to the Chasam Sofer, it's really HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the Kal V'chomer. He says, Uma im Pesach shi mitzvah yechidis, Pesach mitzvah yechidis, shenamar bo, it says nevertheless by it, Kol orel lo yocha bo, and no orel, no uncircumcised chiyet, HaTorah shall call mitzvah klus bo Torah, which is all mitzvahs in it. Ha'aras kama, then orel, or a mumar in this case, should not have the orel here, it says kol orel v'chol mumar by Pesach. Here too, they're mumar, and they should not have the Torah. Okay? Now, the Chasam Sofer says that Kosh Baruch Hu didn't want to give it because of the Kal V'chomer. And then Moshe Rabbeinu, Chasam Sofer said on the bottom, Moshe Rabbeinu said, no, he was Malamet Tzchus on that. In other words, Moshe Rabbeinu was Malamet Tzchus. He wanted to get them out of it. And he said, no, it's not fair. The Satan made him do it, the devil made him do it, and he wanted to try and bring the Luchos down. When he heard and when he heard the kol anos, so he could have broken them immediately because it confirmed what Kosh Baruch Hu told him. But he still wanted to make a point of that. A person should not make hasty or unevaluated judgment. So actually, Moshe Rabbeinu tried to be Melamed Zchus on Am Yisrael. When that failed, so then it only failed for as far as he was concerned when he got down and he heard the call. No, so until then he was kept on striving to be Melamed Zchus. And the Gemara is going to pick up on that in a moment as well.
Even though Hashem told him.
I say L'cha Goy Godol. Yeah, it says L'cha Goy Godol. But the Moshe Rabbeinu knew that just meant it was a smoke screen. It's a test of Moshe Rabbeinu to see if he himself is going to die. So it says Vaychar Av Moshe when he saw what was happening explicitly, he got upset. Vayishlech miyodav v'saluchos, he threw down luchos. Vayishberel son he broke them underneath the mountain. Tanya Rabbi Shmuel says the Kodesh Baruch Hu Amar Lo Sheishabreim. Hashem told him to break it. Now again, the Chaz Sofer said this. He told him beforehand. He said, "Go down and break the luchos." Moshe said, "No, let's wait. Let's see what's going on." Right? And it's interesting here. He brings the Shari Teresa, so brings out Shmuel's Rabbah. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to teach their Cheretz to Am Yisrael. Said, "Listen, if I could ask God to wait to make sure I verify the situation, you can wait till you jump to conclusions before you verify the situation as well." So even Hashem said, "Break them."
Is that one of the decisions that Moshe made on his own to break them?
No, that's what it said. That's what it said. No. It's the same language as here. Which you broke. And here this is what you're referring to. The Bible is Tabach of Gimel. The game that he broke. But it's not according to the Chaz Sofer. He told him to break. Moshe Rabbeinu said, "I want to see for myself." Then after he broke, he said, "He broke." There are 6 volumes long, a roch with 3 12 wide. But Moshe held on to 2 tvachim. But Hashem held on to 2 tvachim. The Tivchaim relevant to the Tivchaim without any grasp in the middle. Came a trust. He saw also Maisa once the Am Yisrael did that Maisa. Hashem wanted to grab it away from Moshe. But his process again to Moshe wanted to take it back. The Gavra Yadosha Moshe, his hand was stronger. The Chot manner, he grabbed it from Hashem, so to speak. That's what the Pasuk says, prays him at the end. It says, his great hand, Yoda Shalom, may there come much peace. Al Yoda on the hand, the Gavras Alei, and should be Yaminoi, which overcame the right hand of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So here, the Shari Torah says, Yisrael, I think it says, he says that, let's say the tefach each one was holding on, was, the Torah was in limbo, but there were 2 tefachim empty in the middle. He says that's the tefillah. Whereas Moshe Rabbeinu was said, Hashem said, enough, don't daven anymore. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, it must be that tefillah does work. So then he davened. So when he davened, it's like he grabbed onto the extra 2 tefachim. And then he got the rove.
The medrash, the letters got heavy.
It's not a medrash, it's Yerushalmi right here. Tani, it's also medrash, you're right. Tani Sheri Nechemi Aksav Atzmo Porach. Did I skip? Yeah, I did skip. Yeah, Ve'elchan Shem Ve'yosef said by Abai said, Amalei, Luchos Yivakshon Lifroach. The Luchos themselves want to fly away. But Moshe Tosa, Moshe grabbed them. You'll see again before he decided to go around along and bring them. You'll see that was the luchos that grabbed this to 2 luchos. That's what you said. The writing flew away from luchos. Rabbi Yezer, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Simon said that luchos are masuya, so they weighed an astronomical amount, the same like the waters in the mikvah. But the writing bore them. In fact, you can learn that even without this miraculous nature, because the writing pierced the luchos through and through, so it made the luchos lighter, right? Came at Shaparach Aksav once the light writing flew away. Says more further. So again, Moshe Rabbeinu was carrying the luchos, and they dropped because Aksav fell away. Ubata Tamid, and the Shir started time was the Tamid ceased. Rabbi Sion Shem Rishon ben Levi said, "We made Malchus Yom in the days of the kings of Yodon. They dropped 2 baskets of gold." when they laid siege. This is in fact when there was the civil war between Hyrcanus and Aristobulus, two children from Beis Chashmonoi. So one side would drop to the other side gold. For Yumal Shtei they sent two lambs up for the Korban Tamid. Pamach Shilshul Lohem Shtei Kubashal Zav, once they drop the gold. But Shtei G'dayim, they sent up two goats. And goats are not silver of the Korban Tamid. They have to dafka be sheep. Both are short at that point. I hear Kush Bros and Amasham Lumine drives and Motsu Shnei Tloim, but Blishkas Tloim. They found two Tloim, two goats, like in the back corner. Two sheep in the back corner of the sheep office for the Korban Tamid. Alosa Shah, in that time, hey, Rabbi Yehuda ben Abba, that's when Chasidus got founded. Alright? Al Tamid Shushach Shukar Barber shows. They davened late that day because they couldn't find the Tamid Shushach. Okay, they were lying on that one. So until they found one, it was at all the way at the end of the Zman. Okay? Rabbi Levi said, "Api may Malchus Harisha Azos." Even in the time of the Romans, very famous Maisa also brought down the Bavli. They lowered right before the Beit Hamikdash was destroyed. They lowered 2 buckets of gold. They gave two sheep. But so one day, the end, they lowered the gold. And they lifted up 2 pigs. They didn't get halfway up the wall. Not till one of the pigs stuck his claws into the wall. The kafas marriages only jumped out of it 40 parselos away. Also, Shah at that time, Gormo Avonos, the Avonos caused this. Ubata Tamid ceased. The Chorav Abayis, the base was destroyed. So from that point on was the beginning of the end, and this is the end.